If your creatinine has been creeping up lately, if your doctor mentioned the words stage 3 or stage 4 CKD, or if you're waking up 2, 3, even 4 times a night to use the bathroom, I need you to stop what you're doing and watch this entire video, because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the direction of your kidney health. And I don't say that lightly. I'm a nephrologist, a kidney specialist with over 25 years of clinical experience. I've sat across the table from thousands of patients over the age of 60 who were terrified when they saw their lab numbers. And I can tell you the one thing that almost nobody talks about, not your primary care doctor, not the pamphlets at the clinic, is how powerfully your daily food choices impact your kidneys at the cellular level. Not just what you eat, but how you eat it and when. Before we dive in, I want to be very clear about something. I am not going to promise you that these 5 snacks will cure your kidney disease. That would be irresponsible, and frankly, it would be a lie. What I am going to show you, backed by research from the Mayo Clinic, the National Kidney Foundation, and peer-reviewed nephrology journals, is that specific foods, chosen carefully and prepared correctly, can meaningfully support your kidney's natural filtering ability, help manage creatinine levels, reduce inflammation, and ease some of the most uncomfortable symptoms that people with CKD, diabetes, and high blood pressure deal with every single day. And here's what makes this video different from everything else you'll find on this topic. At least half of what I'm going to tell you today, I'm willing to bet you have never heard before. Not from your doctor, not from another video, not from a website. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 snacks to reach for, how to prepare them so they actually work for your kidneys and not against them, and the specific mistakes that millions of seniors are making right now that are quietly causing damage without them even realizing it. Let's start with something that might surprise you about how creatinine actually works, because most people have this completely backwards. Creatinine is a waste product. It's produced when your muscles break down a substance called creatine, which is used for energy. Your kidneys filter creatinine out of your blood and send it out through your urine. When kidneys are struggling, whether from CKD, diabetes-related damage, or years of uncontrolled high blood pressure, that filtration slows down. Creatinine builds up, and that's when your lab report starts showing numbers above 1.2, 1.5, 2.0, or higher. But here's what most people don't realize. You can influence how much creatinine your body produces and how efficiently your kidneys filter through specific dietary choices. And that's exactly what these 5 snacks do. Each one works through a different mechanism. Let's get into it. Snack number 1, red grapes. The first snack on our list is one I personally recommend to almost every CKD patient I see. And yet, when I ask patients if they eat them, most say no. Red grapes. I know what you're thinking. Doctor, aren't grapes too sugary? I have diabetes. That is one of the most common concerns I hear, and I want to address it directly, because the answer is more nuanced than you might think. But first, let me tell you why red grapes make this list. Red grapes contain a powerful compound called resveratrol. You've probably heard of it in the context of red wine. But here's what the wine commercials don't tell you. The resveratrol in whole red grapes is far more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs and uses it more effectively when it comes from the actual fruit rather than from alcohol. And alcohol, as you probably know, is something your kidneys do not need more of. In plain language, resveratrol acts like a cellular shield. It's an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. It helps protect the filtration units of your kidney, called nephrons, from further scarring. Oxidative stress, which is essentially what happens when unstable molecules damage kidney cells, is accelerated in CKD. Resveratrol directly counters that process. But here's the part that most people completely skip over. Red grapes are also low in potassium, compared to many other fruits. For those of you in stage 3 or stage 4 CKD, potassium management is critical. Your damaged kidneys struggle to excrete excess potassium, and high potassium can cause dangerous heart rhythm problems. A standard half-cup serving of red grapes contains only about 88 milligrams of potassium. Compare that to a banana, which has over 400 milligrams in a single fruit, and you can see why this matters enormously. Now, what about the blood sugar concern? Half a cup of red grapes, roughly 15 to 20 grapes, contains about 14 grams of carbohydrates. If you're managing type 2 diabetes alongside CKD, which is very common, you absolutely can include red grapes in your diet. But timing and pairing matter enormously. Here is a tip I give my own patients that almost nobody else teaches. Pair your grapes with a small amount of protein, a few cubes of low-sodium cheese, or half an ounce of unsalted walnuts. The protein slows the absorption of natural sugars, blunting the blood sugar spike significantly. There's one more thing about red grapes that I find genuinely fascinating. The skin of red grapes contains flavonoids, specifically quercetin and anthocyanins. These compounds have been shown in early human trials to reduce proteinuria, which is protein in the urine. If you've been told your urine has protein in it, or if you've noticed it looking foamy or bubbly, that is a sign your kidneys are leaking protein. They shouldn't be. It means the filtration barrier is compromised. While grapes alone won't reverse this, the anti-inflammatory effect on the kidney's filtration membrane is a genuine area of active research and one I watch closely. How to eat them correctly. Eat red grapes fresh. Not as juice, not as raisins. Juice removes the fiber and concentrates the sugar. Raisins are extremely high in potassium, about 750 milligrams per quarter cup. Stick to fresh whole red grapes. Wash them thoroughly, store them refrigerated, and limit yourself to that half-cup serving, ideally mid-morning or mid-afternoon. One mistake I see constantly: people switch to green grapes thinking they're the same. They're not. Red and purple grapes have dramatically higher levels of beneficial polyphenols. The color is the key. Snack number 2, egg whites. Has your doctor ever told you to limit protein because of your kidneys? If so, I want you to hear this carefully, because the answer is complicated, and getting it wrong could either be damaging your kidneys further or leaving you dangerously undernourished. The second snack is cooked egg whites. When your kidneys are damaged, they struggle to process the waste products that come from protein metabolism. One of those waste products is urea. Elevated blood urea nitrogen, which you'll see on your labs as BUN, is a sign your kidneys are being overworked. This is why the old recommendation was to drastically cut all protein. But here's what that approach got wrong. Seniors over 60 are already at significant risk of sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. When you lose muscle mass, you actually produce more creatinine relative to your kidney function, not less. You also become weaker, more prone to falls, and your immune system suffers. So we can't just slash all protein. We have to be strategic about the type of protein. Egg whites have the highest biological value of any protein food. That means your body uses a higher percentage of the protein in egg whites with less metabolic waste left over. Less waste means less strain on your kidneys, less BUN. And for people whose creatinine is elevated, that matters greatly for symptom management. Egg whites are also virtually phosphorus-free. This is crucial. People with stage 3 and 4 CKD often have to restrict phosphorus because damaged kidneys can't excrete it efficiently, leading to buildup that weakens bones and harms blood vessels. The egg yolk contains the majority of the phosphorus in an egg. The egg white contains almost none. Now I want to connect something that most kidney health conversations never address: those frequent nighttime bathroom trips. When you eat high phosphorus, high protein foods in the evening, especially red meat, your kidneys are forced to work overtime at night processing the metabolic load. This contributes to nocturnal urine production. Shifting to a light egg white-based snack in the early evening, rather than a heavy protein source, may help reduce that overnight burden. Many of my patients report genuine improvement in sleep quality when they make this switch. How to prepare egg whites for a snack. Scramble 2 to 3 egg whites with a tiny amount of olive oil and no added salt. Add fresh herbs like chives, parsley, or dill for flavor. You can also hard-boil eggs and discard the yolks, eating only the whites. If you use carton egg whites, check the label. Some brands add sodium for preservation. Look for less than 100 milligrams of sodium per serving, or better yet, crack fresh eggs. The biggest mistake people make: eating only one egg white here and there and thinking it's enough. For someone managing CKD with sarcopenia risk, you want about 10 to 15 grams of protein per eating occasion, roughly 3 to 4 egg whites. Work with your dietitian or nephrologist to find what's right for your specific GFR level, because in advanced stage 4 CKD, protein must be managed even more carefully. Snack number 3. Leached potatoes. I told you this one would surprise you. Potatoes. Yes, potatoes. The food that almost every kidney diet sheet in America tells you to avoid. But here's what those sheets don't tell you. How you prepare a potato changes its potassium content dramatically. This preparation method is so underutilized that it borders on criminal because millions of people are unnecessarily depriving themselves of a nutritious, filling, and affordable food. The technique is called leaching. It has been recognized and studied for decades and is referenced in dietary guidelines from the National Kidney Foundation. Yet almost nobody outside of specialized renal dietitians knows about it. Here's how it works. Potassium in vegetables is water-soluble. It dissolves into water. When you peel a potato, slice it thin, about 1/8 of an inch, and soak it in a large pot of warm water for at least 4 hours. Changing the water halfway through, you can reduce the potassium content by 30 to 50%. Then you drain it completely, rinse it thoroughly, and cook it in fresh, unsalted water. This process pulls a significant portion of the potassium out of the potato tissue and into the water, which you discard. Can you get the potassium down to 0? No. A leached potato still contains potassium, and this is not a free pass to eat unlimited amounts. But it transforms a high potassium food into a moderate potassium option that many stage 3 CKD patients can incorporate under their nephrologist's guidance. Why does this matter as a snack choice? Potatoes, prepared simply, are naturally low in phosphorus and sodium. They provide a gentle source of carbohydrate energy, and critically for seniors, they are easy to chew, easy to digest, and satisfying in a way that rice cakes and celery sticks simply are not. Quality of life on a kidney diet matters. When people feel deprived, they abandon their plans entirely, and that is far more damaging to their kidneys than a carefully prepared potato. Here's a practical snack preparation I use with my own patients. Peel 2 small potatoes, slice them into thin rounds, soak as described, then boil in fresh unsalted water. Once cooked, mash lightly with a drizzle of olive oil. Fresh herbs, rosemary and thyme work beautifully, and a small squeeze of lemon for flavor. Make a batch ahead of time and refrigerate for up to 3 days. Portion about half a cup as your snack. One critical mistake: do not microwave potatoes thinking it's the same as boiling. It is not. Microwaving does not leach potassium. You must do the soaking and boiling process for this to work. Also, and I want to emphasize this, don't be misled by sweet potato health claims. Sweet potatoes are extraordinarily high in potassium. One medium sweet potato has over 500 milligrams. Unless leached using the same method, they are not a safer choice than white potatoes for CKD patients, despite what many general nutrition sources suggest. The kidney diet is different from a general health diet, and conflating the two causes real harm. Snack number 4. Cauliflower. Our fourth snack is one I recommend without hesitation to virtually every kidney patient, regardless of their CKD stage: cauliflower. Raw, roasted, or steamed. This is one of the most kidney-friendly vegetables in existence, and the reasons go deeper than most people realize. First, the basics. Cauliflower is naturally low in potassium, about 150 milligrams per half cup, which is excellent for CKD management. It's low in phosphorus, low in sodium, and high in vitamin C and folate, both of which are important because CKD patients frequently become depleted in water-soluble vitamins, especially those following very restrictive diets. But here's where I want to go deeper, because this is the part you won't hear anywhere else. Cauliflower belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, which also includes broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. These vegetables contain compounds that, when metabolized by your body, influence inflammatory pathways, specifically the NF-κB pathway, which functions as a master regulator of inflammation. In CKD, chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of disease progression. It's one reason creatinine keeps climbing, even when patients feel relatively well. I want to be careful not to overstate this. I am not telling you that eating cauliflower will directly lower your creatinine. What I'm saying is that reducing systemic inflammation, and cauliflower genuinely contributes to that, is one of the foundational strategies for slowing CKD progression, according to guidelines from both the American Society of Nephrology and the National Kidney Foundation. There's another element here that connects to those nighttime bathroom trips. Cauliflower is high in choline, an often overlooked nutrient. Choline supports healthy cell membrane structure, including in the kidney tubule cells responsible for reabsorbing water and electrolytes during urine concentration. When tubule cell function is compromised, the kidney produces more dilute urine, and more of it, contributing to frequent urination, including at night. The connection between dietary choline and nocturia in CKD is still being explored, but the biological pathway is plausible and worth taking seriously. How to enjoy cauliflower as a snack. My personal favorite recommendation is what I call the kidney rice method. Take raw cauliflower florets and pulse them briefly in a food processor until they reach a rice-like consistency. Microwave for 2 to 3 minutes with no water added. Season with fresh herbs, parsley, cilantro, dill, a squeeze of lemon, and a small amount of olive oil. It's warm, filling, and genuinely satisfying as a between-meal snack. You can also roast cauliflower florets at 400 degrees Fahrenheit with a light drizzle of olive oil and garlic powder until golden and crispy at the edges. This brings out a natural nuttiness that even people who don't love vegetables tend to enjoy. The mistake I see most often: people buy the frozen bags that come with a cheese sauce. Please read the label. Those sauces often contain enormous amounts of sodium and phosphorus additives, both of which are harmful to kidneys. Always choose plain fresh or plain frozen cauliflower with nothing added. Snack number 5, macadamia nuts. We've reached snack number 5, and this is the one that genuinely surprises people, including, I'll admit, some of my physician colleagues who haven't kept up with renal nutrition research. The 5th snack is macadamia nuts. If you've been told to avoid nuts because of kidney disease, let me explain why that blanket advice is outdated, and why macadamia nuts specifically occupy a unique and favorable position in the kidney-friendly food landscape. Most nuts are indeed problematic for CKD patients. Almonds, cashews, peanuts. These are very high in potassium and phosphorus. A 1-ounce serving of almonds contains about 200 milligrams of potassium and 136 milligrams of phosphorus. For someone in stage 3 or stage 4 CKD, that's a significant hit. Macadamia nuts are different. A 1-ounce serving, about 10 to 12 nuts, contains only 104 milligrams of potassium and 53 milligrams of phosphorus. Those numbers are dramatically lower than any other common nut, and yet macadamia nuts are rich in something your kidneys and your cardiovascular system genuinely need: monounsaturated fatty acids, specifically olasacid, the same heart-healthy fat found in olive oil. Why does this matter for kidneys? CKD and cardiovascular disease are deeply intertwined. People with CKD are far more likely to die from a cardiovascular event than from kidney failure itself. The chronic inflammation and oxidative stress that damage kidneys also damage blood vessels. Monounsaturated fats have been shown in clinical studies to reduce LDL cholesterol, reduce systemic inflammation, and improve the health of the inner lining of blood vessels. Healthy blood vessels mean better blood flow to the kidneys, and better blood flow supports filtration. Here is the insight that almost nobody discusses. There is emerging research looking at the relationship between dietary fat quality and proteinuria, the leakage of protein into urine that causes that foamy appearance. Some studies suggest that diets high in saturated fat worsen proteinuria, while diets richer in monounsaturated and omega-3 fatty acids may have a protective effect on the kidney filtration barrier. The research is not yet definitive enough to form a clinical protocol, but it is biologically plausible and directionally consistent with what I observe in practice. Macadamia nuts are also one of the few satisfying crunchy snack options for seniors managing both CKD and diabetes. They have very low glycemic impact, meaning they do not cause blood sugar spikes, which makes them suitable for diabetic CKD patients trying to find snacks that don't disrupt glucose control. How to eat them correctly. Portion control is everything. 1 ounce, approximately 10 to 12 nuts is your serving. No more. They are calorie dense, and while the fats are healthy, Excess calories are never beneficial. Buy raw, unsalted macadamia nuts. If you can only find roasted, choose dry roasted with no added oil or salt. Avoid any macadamia products with added flavors, caramel coatings, or chocolate. These add sugar, sodium, and phosphorus additives. A practical daily routine, I suggest. Keep a small container with your pre-portioned 10 to 12 nuts in the pantry or your bag. This becomes your afternoon snack. Pair them with 4 or 5 red grapes if your potassium budget allows, and you have a genuinely nourishing, kidney-conscious snack that requires zero preparation. One important note: macadamia nuts are toxic to dogs. Keep them well out of reach of any pets in your household. Bringing it all together, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I want to bring it together in a way you can actually use the moment you walk away from this video. Your 5 kidney-friendly snacks are: red grapes for their resveratrol and low potassium profile, egg whites for their high biological value protein with minimal metabolic waste, leached potatoes, prepared correctly, a satisfying moderate potassium option that most people thought was permanently off their plate, cauliflower for its anti-inflammatory properties and extraordinary versatility, and macadamia nuts for their heart and kidney protective fats and their unique position as the only truly kidney-safe nut for most CKD patients. Now I want to say something to you directly, and I want you to really hear this. Living with kidney disease, especially when you're over 60, managing diabetes, managing blood pressure, getting up multiple times a night, worrying about what your next creatinine will show, is exhausting, and sometimes it's frightening. I know this not just from 25 years of clinical medicine, but from sitting with patients in exam rooms, from watching families navigate this diagnosis together, from witnessing the fear that comes with a declining GFR. You did not cause this by being careless. Kidney disease at this stage of life is the cumulative result of decades of blood pressure, blood sugar fluctuations, vascular aging, and inflammation, processes that began long before you had any reason to know they were happening. What you can control, starting today, is what you put in your body. And that is not a small thing. Dietary management alongside your prescribed medications and regular monitoring is a cornerstone of slowing CKD progression, and it is one of the few levers you actually have your hands on. These 5 snacks are not magic, but they are real food, backed by real science, chosen to work with your kidneys rather than against them. Start with one change, just one. If you change nothing else this week, try replacing your usual afternoon snack with half a cup of fresh red grapes paired with a small portion of egg whites. That one change, made consistently, is more powerful than any supplement being sold online with dramatic promises. And please, keep your regular nephrology appointments. Keep getting your labs drawn. Know your numbers, your GFR, your creatinine, your BUN, your potassium, your phosphorus, your albumin. These numbers tell the story of your kidney health, and you deserve to understand them. If this video helped you today, share it with someone you love who is dealing with kidney disease or diabetes. One share could genuinely change someone's health trajectory. And leave me a comment. Tell me your age, where you're from, your latest creatinine or GFR, and what topic you most want me to cover next. Your questions drive this work, and I read every one. Take care of those kidneys. They are working for you every single minute of every single day.